Hello YouTubers, today I'm going to show you how to fix an old 2004 GE oven that keeps on turning on and off. Now the problem is the display and the light bulb flickers. That's because that was due to a loose neutral wire. Now I did not do this. This was the previous people that lived here when they were installing this cord. They did not tighten that screw down, so we're going to want to tighten the screw down right here. Now, when you're tightening down this screw, check all your other screws. Make sure they're tight, so that way your oven isn't turning off and the light bulb inside the oven itself isn't flickering. But since I'm back here right now, I might as well just replace this range cord with this new one right here, just for safety. Now, whoever put these cords in to actually tying these suckers down pretty hard. Let me put this down. There we go. Now I got these screws all loosened, so. But they didn't tighten these screws down. That just makes no sense. That's just so safe right there. Now, if your oven ever has that issue, check the plugs down here. Check your wires to make sure they're screwed, because if they aren't, well, that's your problem. So, yeah. And our oven's been doing this for like a year now. And I wanted to see what was going on, so I just started taking the panels off of the back of this oven. And sure enough, I found a loose neutral wire. Because it was driving me crazy last time I was cooking food in the oven. I'll be right back. I'm going to go and get a flathead screwdriver for the ground. So I got a special bit in here that will actually fit this ground screw. So, and I just have it attached to a regular ordinary hex screwdriver. So I got a hex bit on there. And we're just going to screw it out. Now, this makes no sense. They screwed these really tight, like I would call them monkey tight. But these other three up here that were not tightened down. Especially this neutral wire up here. Now, if your oven ever acts like that, take some of your time and tighten down the screws. Because you don't want your house to burn down if it arcs onto these other terminals one of these days. You don't want that. And now, I'm going to take some of my time right now and replace this cord, because I actually got this other cord from Home Depot. Now, before you replace cords on your oven, check to see what plug it uses. Like, look at the plug on the wall here. These are all flat bladed. Flat bladed right here. And this one's also flat bladed. Now, if you're going to replace a cord on a modern dryer, this bottom piece will just have a little corner. These two will be flat. This one will be a corner. So, don't get confused. And this was introduced probably in like 2002, 2004. So houses built from any time of those years. I guarantee your house will use this. If your house was built in the year of 2002 or 2004, it will use this type of plug for your oven. Now we're going to loosen this clamp so I can get this cord out of here. Wire could be free like that. Now, this isn't very hard to do. You can actually do it. You don't need an electrician for this kind of stuff. So I just tossed that over there. Now, we're just going to reuse the old clamp in this oven, so I'm going to take this out. And that's absolutely fine. You could reuse the old clamp. It's not going to hurt anything. And don't worry, your cables already come with screw holders like this. All you have to do is match it with these colors and then make sure that your ground screw goes back down there, which is pretty obvious because it's green. So, this isn't hard at all. You don't really need a professional for this. Unless you're probably colorblind, then yeah. But this is pretty easy. You could also do this to your dryer too if you ever need to replace the cord if you're moving to a new house. It's not that hard. Now we're just fishing this through. Make sure a cord goes through this clamp. Now, to make sure it's all secure, just gotta tighten it down. Tighten these two screws back down again. So now this cable isn't going anywhere. So now, start off with your ground wire first. So, our ground was on that little hole right in the center of your screen, right there. So our ground wire will go there. Now when you're putting your ground wire back in place, make sure that it doesn't touch any of these other wires. Unless it's neutral, then it'll be fine, but make sure it does not touch the black or the red, because those are your hot wires. If earth shorts on those, well obviously that's going to trip your circuit breaker and can make problems worse for you. So make sure to tighten this down, and make sure to provide some space for the black wire or the red, because these could actually cut the wire and you don't want that. And don't try to bypass ground either. That is a stupid idea that you could ever do with appliances, is bypass the ground. Never bypass the ground on appliances. Ground will save you from a nasty electrical shock if something shorts on ground on the chassis itself of the oven. So don't ever do that stupid stuff. So our red wire's right there, along with these red wires. Make sure to kind of push them back away from the sharp edge, so that way you don't nick the wires in any way. So now we're going to get our black wire, put our screw right here, and just tighten it down with a Phillips screwdriver, or just a regular ordinary hex screwdriver that you use to put your screwdriver bits on. Just like this. Just your ordinary hex screwdriver, or nut driver, or whatever you like to call it. Now we're going to do our last wire, which is our neutral wire. And we're going to want to tighten it down in that little hole right there, right in the middle of your screen. So, put that down for a second, get these tightened down. So now that you got these all screwed down, check all the screws. And I know I tightened these top ones down already, but I'm gonna just show it to you just for your reference. Make sure all these are tightened down, including these top wires. Okay, so those are all nice and tight now. Now you're ready to put your panel back on your oven. The only reason I took this top off to see if there was anything going on up there, which is completely fine. But down here, I found the problem, and I automatically knew that's the problem, because I noticed this oven would turn off every time we opened the door, like that, and the light would start flickering, and this would be flickering as well. And that was due to a loose neutral wire. Just not safe for an oven like this. And this has a 60 amp breaker, so yeah. It's a 60 amp breaker that this oven uses. So now, make sure that this lines up with the little slot holder. Make sure you line up with your slot holders on the side here. Make sure that lines up with that one, make sure it lines up with this one, and then it should just slide right in like that. Now put all your screws back in. So make sure all these screws are in. Tighten down all your screws. So now I got my back on the oven, and now I'm just gonna leave this open for right now, just to demonstrate to you guys that the oven works. So now the moment of truth that you guys have been all waiting for. Sorry about the video cutting off because the cord accidentally hit the lens, but now we're going to plug it into this outlet. Going to plug this into our outlet. Got our cord in there. The moment of truth. No more flickery light, you guys. That was all it was. I hope this video was helpful for you guys that have this issue with your GE oven or any other type of oven flickering when you open the door. And subscribe to me.